Well, welcome to our first video on camping and fishing in California. As you can see, we're in a beautiful little park called Dos Picos, and it's in the northeastern quadrant of San Diego County, just on the outskirts of a little town called Ramona. And today it's the last day of February 2013, and it's just beautiful. Blue skies. Looks like it's going to be maybe 70-75 degrees max today. Two items that we really like to take with us and are a must-have are lightweight chairs. These chairs are very sturdy, very lightweight, and very durable. Just wonderful chairs. And they've got little tables attached to them with cup holders for your hot cup of coffee or whatever you might be drinking. Also, you can see that slot for a handle. So very, very handy little chairs to have. Another really cool thing to mention is that some lumber yards, when they get done with projects that they're cutting up, will throw the scrap wood on a pallet and sell it to the customer. And that's where this wood came from. Great item to remember, great thing to remember, because it's easily stored inside your garage or outside your garage and easily transported in your pickup or your tow vehicle. Another thing that you might want to consider is a poker. If you have access to an old poker from somebody's fireplace that doesn't need it, bring that with you. It's so much better than a piece of wood or something that you picked up off the trail. Here's another must-have. This table we've had for quite a while, and we always park it in the same place right outside that door. It's a great place to park stuff as you're going in and retrieve stuff as you're coming out. You can see I've got my water bottle there, but here's our retrievable leashes. Great things to have. But here's a must-have right here, this lighter fluid. If you're anyone that's clumsy with campfires and can't quite build them, that's a great thing to have. Also, building those campfires, you can get a lot of splinters, so I carry gloves. I always carry gloves with me, 2 or 3 pairs, always something good to have. The last thing you want to do is spend the whole vacation picking out splinters. So just a couple more items there. And that brings us down to these wheel chocks. You can see I have them on both sets of tires, or both tires. And when you pull into a campground, before you unhook your trailer, you always want to block off that trailer with wheel chocks. And keep in mind that that trailer will move on you if you don't before you get your stabilizers down. So always be in the habit of chalking off your wheels before you unhook. 2 more items that are a must-have are these buckets. I always carry buckets with us when we travel, and here's a couple reasons why. Number one, you can see the recyclables. I collect those in there, and you can see this one's kind of dirty. It's because I used it to collect leaves to start my campfire last night, to build my campfire. And then also, when the campfire was done, I used it to haul water from my gray water tank to the campfire and extinguish all the open flames and pretty much put the campfire out. The good thing about doing that is using your gray water, it keeps your gray water tank manageable. Your gray water tank will build up at least 3 to 1 compared to your black water tank. And by using your gray water on your campfire, everybody's happy. The campfire host, or the campground host, and the rangers are happy because your campfire is out when you go to bed. And you're happy because you're not having to hook up your trailer and go and dump just for your gray water situation. So manage your gray water, use it for the campfires. It's a great thing. Everybody's happy. Now, another thing I failed to mention about these buckets is if your wife likes to fish like my wife likes to fish, you're going to be very, very busy cleaning those things, and you're going to want a couple buckets to do it with. Here we are at the front of the trailer, and you can see a few things here. First thing that might pop out at you is this electric jack stand. It's a very, very important thing to have when you're getting older and your muscles are failing you, your skeletal is failing you. A very important thing. It's really a handy thing to have. I used to crank everything up and down, but now I just enjoy pushing a button. So it's not a must-have, but it's definitely might want to have. And behind it you see the cover for the propane tanks. Nice to have, kind of a deterrent. People won't tend to want to go by and just kind of play with the knobs on your LP tank so much when you have it covered like that. And it's good for blocking the wind a little bit. And it just really cleans up the front of your trailer nicely too. And down here you'll see I have my battery box, and around it is a cabled lock, and that's a nice deterrent also, so someone won't just arbitrarily come through and mess around with your batteries. And I also have a cable lock exactly like that around my tanks inside this cover. And like I said, just deterrents. So down here you'll see a marine cutoff switch. Wonderful thing to have. What it's used for is when you go camping and you come home and you charge your batteries up, and you're hoping that your batteries will stay charged up until you go again. They probably won't, because there's so many things in the trailer that will leach off these batteries. By having a switch like this, once you've charged up your batteries, you just flip that off and it kills everything between this switch and the back bumper, so that nothing will leach off your batteries, save one thing, and it's not going to leach. The one thing that still will be attached is your tongue jack, and that's a good thing. And I highly recommend a marine battery switch shutoff switch. Now on this side of the trailer you're looking at what looks like Lego blocks, but they're not. They're actually leveling blocks, and they're wonderful to have. They are lightweight, easy to store, easy to pack, easy to move, and very, very easy to use. We used to use wood to level our trailer off, and that was okay, but it was heavy. It took up a lot of space, and it took up a lot of weight in the back of our truck as we hauled it. So now we've switched over to these. They're not a must-have, but you might just want to pick these up for convenience. Here you'll see our water setup. You can see that there's a water filter on this, and it's hooked up to the city water there, and then the water hose is hooked up to the filter, and then the water hose goes into the trailer eventually. You'll also see a yellow cord there, and that is the connection between your electrical on your trailer and the electrical here at the campground. So these three items are usually included in a package from the dealership when they sell you your new or used trailer. And also another thing that's included is the sewer hose that you see inside my bumper there. Those three things, and then I believe they usually in that package will give you some black water tank treatment, and there might be a few other things. I believe maybe a pressure regulator for your water supply, and maybe a few other things. And speaking of that, this right here is a pressure regulator. Very important to have, because the water that comes out of this sometimes is very pressurized, and it's a higher pressure than what your trailer might want to handle. Some of the plumbing inside that could possibly weaken up and start leaking. And that leads me to another item. This elbow, what that does is that keeps pressure, weight from wearing on this mechanism in here, the plastics and everything in here. By this elbow coming out and then putting everything down at this angle, it keeps a lot of weight off that. Some people will take and build off this out with a filter, and then their hose will be way out here and then come down, and that puts a lot of leverage, a lot of pressure on this whole mechanism here, and pretty soon you could start getting cracks and leaks. And by doing this type of a setup, it really preserves it for a lot longer. These two things are very, very inexpensive, easily to get off Amazon or Walmart or Kmart or something. So those are just a couple other important items. And one last item that I wanted to show you is over here is the other end of your bumper where your sewer hose is housed. And a lot of times these covers will come off, but if you'll take and just drill a hole in the top of your metal right there real easily, and then just put also a hole in the lip of this cover, and then just put that down through it will keep this from flying off going down the road. And that kind of takes care of our first video. So glad you joined us. Be sure and check out our website for more information, a lot more tools and tidbits and links and information that you might want to use for camping. And go out there and get your first trip going and enjoy it. Thanks again for being with us.